You drift across the event horizon of a supermassive black hole. Space and time swap roles, forward motion becomes inevitable. There is no turning back. The universe behind you shrinks into a small, bright circle. You are now officially a permanent resident of the abyss. The descent feels oddly peaceful. Gravity is uniform across your body. No stretching happens yet, however the light behaves strangely. Every photon from the outside world catches up to you. The entire history of the universe flashes by in a few minutes. Stars ignite and die, galaxies collide and fade, time outside accelerates to a dizzying degree. While you check your watch, billions of years pass in the world you left behind. Light from the outside world is blue shifted into high-energy gamma rays. The void is no longer dark. It is a blinding, incandescent wall of radiation. This cosmic microwave background radiation becomes a microwave oven. Your skin begins to cook. The sheer energy density of the incoming light turns the space around you into a furnace. Physics dictates that all the light that ever enters the black hole must eventually pass through the same space. You are standing in the path of every single photon ever swallowed by this void. The temperature rises. Heat radiates from every direction. It is quite warm. You are essentially a human-shaped piece of charcoal floating in a sea of infinite light. You decide to take a nap. Sleep is difficult when the laws of causality are breaking. However, the radiation has already sterilized your clothes. On the bright side, you no longer need to worry about laundry. The cosmic void is an excellent, if aggressive, dry cleaner. Now the tidal forces arrive. In a small black hole, this happens instantly. But in a supermassive one, the gradient is gentler. For a while, you just feel a slight tug. Then the difference in gravity between your head and your feet becomes noticeable. This is spaghettification. The vacuum of space pulls your atoms apart. First, the joints pop. Then the muscles stretch like taffy. Your skeletal structure becomes a long, thin needle of calcium. You are now a human noodle, several kilometers long. The physics of the singularity demand that everything be crushed into a zero-volume point. Your molecular bonds surrender. You are no longer a person. You are a stream of subatomic particles. This process is mathematically elegant. It is also physically unpleasant. You are now an extremely long, very thin, radioactive piece of organic spaghetti. The approach to the singularity is a one-way trip. Space itself is flowing inward faster than light. No amount of rocket thrust can stop the descent. The distance to the center is no longer a place but a time. The singularity is not a point in space but an event in your future. It is as inevitable as tomorrow. The curvature of space becomes infinite. Your particle stream begins to wrap around itself. You experience every possible version of your own death simultaneously. Quantum fluctuations turn your remains into a chaotic soup of probability. The laws of general relativity clash with quantum mechanics. The math breaks. The universe stops making sense. You are now a glitch in the fabric of existence. The density of your remaining atoms exceeds that of a neutron star. You have become a microscopic, hyperdense needle of matter. The pressure is immense. The heat is unimaginable. You are essentially a very small, very angry piece of the early universe. This is the pinnacle of gravitational collapse. You have now spent a year inside the horizon, or so your watch says. In reality, the concept of a year has lost all meaning. Your timeline is a twisted knot. The radiation you absorbed earlier is now being emitted back as you approach the center. You are a glowing, stretched, quantum-blurred streak of matter. The singularity is no longer ahead of you. It is everywhere. Every single atom of your being is being crushed into a region smaller than a Planck length. Space-time is shredding like wet paper. The surrounding void screams with the energy of a trillion supernova. You are seeing the internal clockwork of the universe, and it is mostly just noise and static. The gravitational shear begins to rotate your remains. You are spinning at relativistic speeds, creating a localized vortex of pure agony. The physics are now so extreme that you might be leaking into a different dimension. Or perhaps you are just becoming a very dense piece of dust. Either way, the structural integrity of your soul is currently zero. You are a mathematical error. You are the punchline of a joke told by a dying star. it is very loud. After a year of being a radioactive noodle in a quantum blender, you finally hit the singularity. You are crushed into a point of infinite density. You are now part of the black hole's mass. You have technically achieved the dream of becoming one with the universe. However, there is a problem. Because of time dilation, the moment you entered the event horizon, the rest of the universe ended. You have outlived everything. You are the only thing left. This is incredibly lonely. Unfortunately, your lease on the apartment you left behind was non-transferable. Since you failed to pay rent for several trillion years, the landlord has filed a claim against your estate. The cosmic court rules in his favor. You now owe the galaxy $10 trillion. Being a singularity is expensive. Subscribe to the What If Club to find out what happens if you try to punch a neutrino. We promise it is less costly.